So during this sprint, we have implemented an improvement for recursive make calls that we are generating into batch MK. So I have a sample. I will just remove all of this TC. I have a big example, and just not to see the legacy TCs, I don't need them anymore. So I will just filter them out. Yes. So this is an example of how target configuration can look like. And in some cases, where customers are using build GNU make build server, make server, and if they want to use the parallel make with GNU make, and in that case, an option for the top make that shows you the number of jobs that you want to get is used. That was, and before, if you want to use it and generate recursive makes into your batch MK, then you got a problem during compilation because recursive make also should use the same option and should get the same settings related to the make process, all recursive make calls as that you used for the top. So there is a recommendation to use $make variable. And this is a part of the documentation for GNU make, which describes that recursive make commands should always use this make variable and not explicit make command. And this actually is an improvement that we have implemented. So right now, if you are using GNU make, and if your make command is $default make command, then it will be generated, it will be replaced with $make, as GNU make suggests, for the recursive make calls. So just I will show you how it looks like in the generated file. Right now I'm using recursive batch MK type, and here is the generated batch MK, how it looks like for recursive batch MK. So it contains very many examples, but here is this is the last call, is the call that we get actually for the recursive call of the current make of the current thesis, and all of the above are for the prerequisites. And now we are using this $make in all places where possible. If in the original TCGS you were using this default make command property, so if you are using explicitly make here, for example, I have it in some other examples. This is for default. This is explicitly $make, all of the different kinds of calls. Yes, here, so like this, If you are using it explicitly, then it will not be replaced. So it will be replaced only if you are using $default make command, this special variable, and only if you are using GNU make. And one more change also that we have implemented for GNU make is using of -C. -C and then the path to the build folder. So before during generation, we were using this kind of so for calling in some specific target folder, we were using in and then target folder and then make command, and we were using it for all of the recursive calls. Right now, for GNU make supports -C option, and for GNU make we are using -C and folder. This is also related to usage of this $make and to having different build jobs with GNU make, because it requires to have this $make as the first command in the recursive make call. Otherwise, it will not identify this variable. So that's why we also have added this improvement to replace for GNU make, replace $in some build folder with -C. You see that these are the examples how the generated batchmk looks like, and we are using this -C in all places where we can. So if you originally had a full path to make, but this is make and build type is GNU make, then we will be using -C option. If you were using originally $make originally in your transformation configuration, then we will also use this -C option. And the third situation is that if you had $default make command, which is HCL variable, then it will be replaced by $make, and also -C will be used. It will not be used in cases this -C when we cannot identify that this is a GNU make command. In that case, we will still use the old approach with this in. This in, actually, this is a Perl script which makes a CD to some folder and then run a command in that folder. And one of the goals for the future was to try to actually get rid of this Perl tooling, and this is one small step towards this goal. It allows for GNU make to not to use this CD run PL, but use -C option that tells make in which folder it should be executed. So the most visible impact is on the recursive batch make type, but also if we are using inclusive batch make file generation, then you will also see these changes, but all of them will be related to prerequisites which are external library theses, because they are still for external library thesis. If you have a command, for example, like this, you are using $make directly, and you have a build folder, then if we will now generate code and build, then you will see that in the generated, we will have batchmk for the inclusive of inclusive kind, but still you will get recursive calls for external library thesis. And for these calls, you will see that -C option is used, because we now are using this $make, which is a GNU make type. So I will show you how batchmk will look like. And now you see that for inclusive batchmk, we have everything in one file, but somewhere below here, for external targets, so for targets that come from external library thesis, we still are generating recursive make calls. And for these calls, also you will see this change that instead of in, like before we had in, instead of in, you will get make -C. So this improvement actually allows you to use parallel builds with GNU make, and it will automatically insert $make for your recursive make calls, and you will not see this is an example of the warning messages that you got before. So you will not see these messages anymore, because now we will use $make properly for recursive make calls. So here we have very many different situations showing how it will be treated in different cases. But the general approach is that if you use explicit make, then it will be kept and it will not be updated with $make. If you will use $make or $default make command in your thesis, then it will be properly replaced with $make for recursive make calls. And all of this is done only for GNU make type. Do you have any questions?